Hey, hi, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to discuss how to perform operations on a hash map. So if you can see here in this example, we are having a hash map which is having the entries of Apple and their quantities here. Okay, like Apple is having like 10 quantity. So the first thing we need to learn here is how to iterate through the hash map. Okay, so iteration iterating the hash map, first we need to get the entry set of it. For example, let's say we have fruits, then we have entry state, and on that entry state set we are going to perform stream operations. Okay. Now once we get the stream, so now we can just perform the operations on it. For example, let's say we want to iterate on it. Okay. So for each of the entry here, okay, we can just print them out in so let's say the key here is okay. E dot get key. Okay. So similarly, we can also print what is the value of it. So we have get value. Now let us print this out. So you can see here we got the key here and the value for the same here. Okay. Similarly, let's say we don't want all the values here. We just want to filter them out. We just let's say we want only those fruits which are greater than 10. Okay, let's take an example. So in similar way, what we can do here is we can use something called as a filter method, right? Okay. So we'll use the same stream, but here we'll filter it out. So we'll just filter it out. We'll take that entry and we'll check if the value of that entry is having value greater than 10. Okay, if it is greater than 10, then ideally it should print only this one. So let us add a separator here so that we know like which output is getting printed correctly. So here we will add something called as a filtering. Okay, and so let us print this out and let us see what values it is getting printed. If you see that we have filtered out the map and we are only getting those entries for which the quantity is greater than 10 here. Okay, and based on that only we have printed this values. So on similar lines, so if you see we have just printed it out here. Let's say we want these values in a separate hash map. Okay, we want to collect them in a separate hash map. So let's take this as an example. Okay, that we are filtering this out and we want to collect them in a different hash map. So let's say we want to collect both of them different hash. So we can use something which is called as collect. Okay, so we have like collectors to hash to map. Okay, so here it takes two entries. First, we will need to specify what is the key value here, and second one is again we can just specify what is the value here, key dot get value. Okay, now we have to take this in a different hash map. So let us introduce a local variable here. So let's say it is you can say as filtered fruits. Okay, so now let us print this out. Okay, okay, let me just print this out. Print ln and okay. So you will see that this is being collected in a different hash map. You see, this is we are printing out a hash map here. Okay, so this is a new hash map we want with those filtered values. So let's say we want to do a transformation on the given value itself. Let's say we are having like values like banana is 5 and date is 7 and apple is 10. Let's say you want to we want to transfer the transformation of the values. We just say we want to double it out here. So what here we can do is we can just use the same thing. Okay, but what we are going to do here is we are going to remove this filtered option here. Okay, and here only while doing the transformation we can just double those values and we can make it as doubled fruits. Okay, and we can just print them out. Okay, so we'll see if we'll have the doubled fruits here. Just print this out. If you see here, I have just doubled the quantity of all the fruits. Like elderberry earlier was 20, this was 12, this was 10. So the quantities have doubled. So this is how we can make the transformation on the elements of the hash map. Okay, so let me just add a separator here. So here we have done the filtering and here we have done the transformation, right? So let me just add this here. Okay, so let's check the new one. So here we need to sort the map. Okay, so for sorting the map, we need a collector. Okay, so for example, let's say let's take this stream here, and for that stream we can use something which is called a sorted. Okay, so there is an inbuilt collector which is written by this map.entry comparing by value. Let's say we want to sort by the value itself. Okay, then we can use something which is called sorted by value. And now after sorting this, we need to collect this thing in a map. Okay, so we'll use a collector here. So but the interesting thing here is, okay, let's say we need, since this is sorted, it should be ordered, so we cannot return this to a normal hash map. We have to return this to a linked hash map. Okay, and but there is one more argument which is, if at all if the key is duplicate, how do we handle it? Okay, so this indicates that, and there is a merge function here. So this indicates that, if at all if we get a duplicate key, do not replace it, use the old one only. If you are using B here, it means you replace it. So currently we are using A, means you use the old one itself. So this is a map merge function we can use. And there is one more function. Okay, since we are sorting it, we want this to be returned to a linked hash map, which will keep all the order, so that the all the values which are returned back to this specific collector, it is sorted. So we introduced a linked hash map here, and it is a sorted map. Okay, so here we are sorting it by using this comparator, and we are telling this to sort by value. That means you sort by the numbers here, okay, in ascending order. And while doing the collector, while collecting it in a different hash map, we need to ensure that is a ordered hash map, which is nothing but the linked hash map. To do that, we just mention what is the return type of that hash map, what kind of hash map we want to return it. And we also have to take care of the duplicate key values. If at all we get a duplicate key, how do we handle it? Here we are just mentioning that we have to use the old key itself. We do not have to, if at all a new key comes in, we do not replace it. We use the old key itself. We do not replace this value with the new value. Okay, so let us print this out. Before that, let me just add this specific here separator here, and this is called as sorting. Okay, and let me just sort this out here. So yeah, so this is nothing but the sorted map. So let me just print this out. So printing this out here. Yeah, so if you could see here, okay, since we had sorted this out, so it is 10 here after the transformation, right? Yeah, so we are using the entry set here, and we are just actually sorting this by these numbers. So initially it is 10, 14, 20, 24, and 40. Okay, so let us move to the next one. So we need to collect the values or the keys in a set. So let's say we want all the key values in a set, or for any business use case we want all the values itself. So how do we do it? So for that it's very easy actually. So use fruits dot. So instead of using entry set, let's say we want only keys, you can use key set for the keys, or you can use only values. So let's take all the keys here, and then we can run a stream on them. Okay, and then you can collect this to a set. That's it. So let me just introduce a new variable. So you can mention this as keys. So if we just print this out, we get all the keys in the set. Similarly, we can do it for the values also. Let's say we want to get only the values, we can do here values here instead of a key set. So let me just print this out. So we can see we got all the key values here. Okay. Okay. Now there is something called as a grouping by function. Okay. So in group by function, what we need to do here is, since we have all these values, let's say we want to group them by the number of what is based on the length of the food. Let's say this is having apple is having length of 5. Okay, and cherry is also having length of 5. So let's say we want to group them by the length of the key values, and return the corresponding hash map. So how do you do it? So for that we use fruits. Again we need an entry set here. Entry set, then we stream on it. Okay. So we can just collect this in collectors.groupingBy. Okay. So in grouping by, what we do is we mention on what basis we want to group it. So let's say we want to group by the key value. Okay, we want to just group this by the key value, and let us return the grouped hash map. So here what happens is, if you're grouping this by the length of it, okay, by the length, and we have to return this as an integer. Okay, so what really happens is, if you are mentioning any parameter to group by, let's say based on length, so that will be the key value here, and the corresponding values after grouping will be part of this list, and the data type of that list would be map.entry, which is nothing but all the hash values. Let us print this out. Okay, so if we see here, this is 4. Date is having length of 4. Apple is having length of 5. Banana and cherry, both of them are having length of 6. So they are grouped together. Similarly, elderberry having length of 10. So it is grouped here. This is how we can group the values based on a given parameter, and based on a given parameter here we want to group by the length of the key. So that's the reason we are having key here as an integer. So we are grouping it that by that specific length here, and the corresponding values, which will be nothing but the list of all the hash map which are matching that specific criteria. Okay, so let's say we have, let's go to the summation part. So let's say we're having all this. For let's say we want to sum all the values which are present here. We have 10, 14. You just do a summation of all the values here. So how do we go about it? So for that purpose we need a handle to the values here. So for example, values. Okay, and then we stream that, and then we use reduce operation. So reduce operation takes the initial value which we want to sum it up, and then what we need to do with those values. For example, let's say A and B, we have to sum them up. We can do A plus B here, and this is how it is going to work. So basically what it is going to do here is, so here it is going to go one by one here. Initial value is 0, so it will be like, like initially it will be like 0 plus 10. So A and B, A is A is 0 and B is 10. So next it will be something like 10 plus 14. So once it completes, it will just return all the total value. So let us print this out. So the total value here is, it is 54. So just if you do a summation of all these things, we'll get to value as 54. I think we have to take this as a value, right? This summation of these values here. Okay, 5, 7, 10, 12, and 20. So we'll get the total as 54. Similarly, we can get the maximum of it, maximum of all the fruits. So let's say I want to get the value of 20 here, okay, which is the maximum of it, right? So in that specific scenario, so how do we handle that? So handle this there is, so how do we handle this maximum value? So for that purpose, we have something which is called as the max function. So the max function, what it does, it is going to compare. It uses a comparator, it's going to compare by the values here, and it's going to return the maximum value which is present right here. Okay, so so let me just take what is the maximum value here. Max value here is this one. So the maximum value here is elderberry. Okay, so this is how it is the maximization. Similarly, we can use this to get the top two fruits by the quantity. So if you have seen here, we have used sorting here. So we can use the same thing since we want the top two by the quantity in the descending order. So what we can do here is, so okay, can just do top two here. So just since we want the top two only, we can use something which is called the limit. Okay, so we'll just take top two here, and let's say let's print this in the ascending order, the lowest two. Okay, let us see which are the lowest two here. Okay, if we just use top two, and yeah. Okay, so I was using double value every time, so that's the reason it was no showing. Okay, let me just remove this double value. Okay, if the lowest value is 5 and 7, so if you just want to have the reversed or in the descending order, we can just do it. I think we need the uh, data type here. Yeah, data type here. Yeah, we need data. Let us do the reverse of it. Here it will have the maximum, top to maximum. See here we have elderberry as 20 and cherry as 12. So yeah, that's it. I think hope this tutorial was helpful to you. So we discussed about how do we iterate through it, how do we filter the map using the filter method, how do we collect it in a different hash map using collectors to map and specifying the key and values which you require. How do you do a transformation here? Okay, we just do a transformation of in while collecting itself here. We can do that thing. How do we sort it out? The most important thing while sorting here is to specify the linked hash map, which will keep the order after sorting, and also specify the merge function as to how do we handle the duplicate keys. So here we are handling the ensuring that the old key itself is there. Okay, and also while collecting to those sets, how do we collect only the key values? You can use key set or values here. Then how do you use the group by function? So grouping by is present in the collect method itself. We just have to specify on what basis we need to group by. So the return type would be the integer, which is on what basis we have grouped by. Let's say here it is by length. So we this integer this is a key, and all the values of the hash map will come in a list. Okay, let's say we have multiple values which are grouped by here. Let's say six banana and cherry are grouped by. So we'll just go get all those map entry values here. Similarly, if you want to do a summation, we can use the reduce method. This is the initial value. Since it's an integer, we are specifying 0 here. And then we have how do we sum it up? So that's how we specify here this way. Similarly, while getting the maximum, you can use a max method, and you can specify, you have to specify like how do we specify the comparator as to on what basis we want the maximum value. Here we are getting based on the quantity, which is the value here. Okay, then again, getting top two fruits by quantity means we have to sort them out. We have to limit them to two, and again we have to specify the merge function and as well as the linked hash map here. I think that's it. I think this tutorial was helpful to you.